Hello, this is Antoine with another episode of Out and Up, where we encourage young athletes to achieve their very best outside of the game. And like every show, you know, we're blessed to have an awesome guest. And y'all know how I do. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Hey, y'all. My name is Caleb Neal. I'm a collegiate baseball player from the DFW area. And I'm also a member of the 2022 Cal Ripken Baseball Summer League Champions.
I appreciate you being with us, Mr. Neal. You ready to get into the questions?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you kind of touched on it, but let everyone know that didn't catch it. Where are you originally born and raised?
I'm originally born and raised in the DFW area, specifically Plano, Texas. And I went to Plano East Senior High School.
That's cool. That's cool. How long have you been playing baseball?
Ooh. I've been playing baseball for a minute. I'd say probably since I was about 5 or 6 years old. So I first picked up a bat, and then it kind of just took off from there.
Wow. What inspired you to get into baseball?
Oof. Honestly, I'll say my mom, because my mom had me playing everything growing up: football, basketball, track, soccer, you name it, I pretty much played it. And then, you know, as time went on, I kind of just fell in love with the game more and more. And, you know, anything you want to be good at, you have to put work in. And I just started putting a lot of work into baseball. And then it just carried me over and continued from there.
That's good. So we know baseball is the sport that won you over, but was there like a close second sport that if you had the opportunity, you would have continued playing on a high level?
Oh, definitely would have been football, for sure. Football is my first love, but baseball is my true love.
Cool. That's cool. So football, I was a former football player, so I asked you, what position did you play? Quarterback. And at what level, what's the highest level you actually played? What was the last time you played football?
Varsity football. I played quarterback for my high school. I was second string. Our starting quarterback, he ended up signing D1. So, you know, it was just a great experience. My main position was always quarterback, yes. But while I was a freshman and sophomore, I pretty much played everything on the offensive side of the ball, from running back to receiver to tight end, kind of whatever coach needed me with different packages. And then I also played linebacker on defense, but I didn't really switch a lot on defense. It was just linebacker, and then on the offense side of the ball, any and everything where coach needed me. So, yeah.
Was there ever a period where there was a consideration of possibly playing football outside of high school, or you knew by that time in your senior year that it was going to be baseball and baseball only?
I knew by my freshman year that it was going to be baseball and baseball only. I wasn't that big. I was about 5'6", 160. 5'6", 150. Like, I was a little chubby kid going into high school. And, you know, at that time, I knew some cats that I played against that were, you know, 6'1" already. Okay. And I was like, yo, these dudes are huge. Like, for me, I was like, if I want to play college, like, I have to pick a sport where, like, size may not be the biggest thing, because playing quarterback at 5'6", you know, I wasn't sure how much of a growth spurt I was going to have. But yeah, definitely, you know, I ended up being 6'1". And if I would have known that, I probably would have stuck with football as well, and just try to do be a dual sport athlete. But, you know, God had a different plan, and I'm just going to go with it.
That's cool, man. Well, let's get into baseball a little bit. What position do you play in baseball?
I'm a left-handed pitcher.
Okay. All right. Have you played over the years? Have you played any other positions?
Up until varsity, I played first base. Played a little outfield when I was younger, but that just wasn't for me. But yeah, I played first base in high school, freshman year, all the way up until I got to varsity. Once I hit varsity, I just pitched, and I courtesy ran as well because I had a little speed on me back in the day.
All right. So what have been some of your greatest accomplishments just in sports overall? I know you say you definitely enjoy football also. So throughout high school and things like in baseball and football, what have been some of your greatest accomplishments or memories of the sports?
I'm not gonna pick an order. I'm gonna just say
Right.
three are my top ones. One of them is definitely tournament season, my junior year,
Okay.
uh, where I had back-to-back outings that were 4 innings, gave up no run and 1 run. Uh, that was my first time on varsity starting. That was big for me. Uh, my other one was this past summer, of course, winning a ring. That
Wow.
was a great moment. My third one would probably be our last tournament game. My senior year, a tournament start that got very heated. Uh, it was a really big game. We had already beat them once earlier in the tournament, and they were back for blood. And I got the ball, and I was like, "It's going down to the wire." Things got very emotional, but that was a really good game for me. Just very fun, high energy.
That's
That was a
good.
game where I was like, "Coach is not taking the ball from me." And I just
Gotcha.
felt done. Uh, so yeah, and then my first college start, I'll always remember that for sure.
That's good. That's good. So playing in high school, I mean, maybe it was in middle school for you. At what point did you know that you had the ability to play at a high level in baseball?
Uh, Honestly, didn't know until probably after my freshman year. When I started playing the summer circuit, because people always say, "Okay, you're left-handed. You can go great in baseball," but I didn't really believe it. Sometimes people are just talking your head up just to, you know, tell you things to give you confidence. But once I played up, I was 15, but I was playing 16s, and I wasn't doing bad, and I was just like, maybe there's some truth to this.
Gotcha.
Uh, that's when I really knew, and that's when things kind of really just took off for me, uh, to get me to where I am today.
So once you start getting attention from schools, like what is it that keeps you kind of focused and grounded? A lot of young people, once they start getting attention, once they recognize they can play at a high level, that's sometimes where a lot of players veer off because they stop putting the work in. So what was it that kept you grounded and focused even once you started getting attention from schools?
My community, there's a few. I'm gonna say there's four different things. Um, First and foremost, my mom. My mom's my everything. That's my rock. That's my bag, my go-to. Uh, Knowing that she's still working keeps me motivated. That always will keep me motivated. Two, uh, my circle pushing me and being like, "Hey, like the work's not over yet, right? You get a little attention, that's fine, but it's not where you want to be. Keep going." Third is my boys.
Right.
We all have one dream, one goal, one mindset, and that's to make it.
Okay.
So having that community of African American players, uh, and some non-African American, but majority of the time they just like we kept each other accountable. Uh,
Gotcha.
you know, I have boys that they're in the league now. Trey Fautine, he just got drafted to the Reds. Dylan Smith, he got drafted in the 2021 draft. Uh, to Tigers, Maxwell Costas, he just signed to the Orioles from Maryland. Some of those
Wow.
I, some of those guys that I just met, like all of my friends from high school and from then on out, Damone Hall, Darian Howard, Darius Perry, the list kind of can go on and on. Uh,
Wow.
they all signed to play Division One baseball. They
Wow.
all went Power Five, and we all had that same mindset to keep us going, uh, because we knew the next part, the brother to our left and the brother to our right was going to hold us accountable. We're not going to
That's
let each
good.
other.
That's good.
And lastly, just people who doubted me. Uh, I was doubted a lot, you know, and that kind of kept me going because I knew no matter what they said, that wasn't gonna stop me because I know what I have inside of me. I have heart, uh, and that's never gonna stop. So that's pretty much the main thing.
That's it. So with you touching on that, I guess I'll ask this question for the young athlete watching, like, how important is it to have people around you or close to you that's like-minded? So many athletes, you'll find athletes that may be a top football player, and then none of their close friends are even trying to strive towards the same goal. So I think you really touched on it, kind of answered already. But tell a young athlete, how important is it to really have people in their circle that's like-minded and really trying to do the same thing?
I have one phrase for y'all. Ray Lewis said it best. You show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Got you.
It's as simple as that.
Got you. That's good. That's good. What are some things that you do in your spare time outside of training and practicing and, the sports and school? Like, what are some things you do for fun in your spare time?
What is spare time? I being, being a college athlete, we don't really get much of that. But when I do get some downtime, definitely try to do self-care. Go to the spa, uh, go swimming, go shopping, stuff like that. I like watching movies as well. So when I do get some downtime, that's definitely what I try to do. Because it's a grind. It's a grind to get to league, but it's a grind to make it through the league. So
Right.
during my free time, sometimes it's things like stretching, doing yoga, just to help with. It's a relaxation, but it's also
Got you.
helping with me athletically, helping with my flexibility, and preparing me for different things baseball wise. So that's yeah. So that's some of the things I do in my spare time.
That's good. And that's good. And I think I ask the question every now and then, but I think it's good because the young athlete needs to know to really play at the high level. You could take spare time, but if you really want to excel in the sport, the truth is you may need to minimize how much of that spare time you utilize. And so I think you touched on it. I think that thank you for that answer because it's been pretty consistent as I speak to, some of my professional track and fielders or some of my other players that have played on the high level in college. Many of them say similar things like, sorry to say, a lot of my extra time is used kind of practicing and training and getting prepared because their goal is to play at a high level, which I think is awesome. Young people need to know if you have a goal that you want to reach, and it's whether it's in the sports or in life, the time you put into it will determine what you get out of it. And so I think that's an awesome answer. I appreciate you for that. So let's go ahead.
You have to, young athletes, y'all have to remember you have to recover, right? You can't go hard 24/7. You do have to make sure your body takes time to recover. Like for me right now, I'm on a break. I just had back-to-back seasons. I've been playing baseball from February up until the end of August. From June to August 1st, I played 40 games. Wow. That's a very taxing schedule. So for me, I came home and I haven't touched the baseball. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I've been practicing. I haven't touched the baseball.
Right.
I've worked out, a few times, but I'm just trying to recover because my body was starting to break down, and you have to take care of your body first and foremost. So recovery, even after practices, whether it's taking an ice bath or some schools they have hot baths. Different schools have different things. So yeah, that's definitely something else to do.
That's good. That's good. So let's just talk about the process and ending up where you're at now as far as in school at Xavier. What was the process in choosing a school? Like, what were maybe if you can talk about some of the other schools you may have had interest in or that had interest in you, like what was that process and when did that process start for you?
I got my first offer November 7th, 2017. Arkansas Pine Bluff called me, and they offered me a scholarship to play baseball there. The next day, Tuskegee offered me. And then kind of went from there. I definitely remember those 2 days, because those 2 days were very significant for me.
Okay.
The process for me to get college offers is very strenuous. The process it's not your normal process, I would say. Like, it's not always about going to the best school. It's about going to the school with the best coaching staff sometimes. You know, I feel like Deion said it best. If you want somebody to come to your school, you bring them on homecoming. And that's very true. So the key is you go to that school. You got two options, young athletes, right? When you're taking visits, specifically talking about HBCUs, because that's what I attend. You either go to all your schools, take all your visits on their homecomings, or you take none of your visits on their homecomings. You can't mix and match, because that homecoming environment is going to be completely different than a regular game day Saturday environment. So for me, it was definitely big, just talking with my circle, understanding how far I wanted to be from home, financially as well. That's always a factor that people don't really understand. Because I hear all the time, some people be like, "Oh, he had an offer from a Power 5." Okay, but how much was that scholarship?
Right.
Was he about to be having to come out of pocket a lot of money to go there?
Right.
That's the case, but he has an HBCU, and it may be a full ride. That's a whole different environment there.
That's good. That's good. Nothing like being able to use the gift that you have to be able to get a free education. And so I think that's awesome, and definitely a great point made. So at what point did you finalize, where you're at? And again, for those that didn't pay attention at the beginning, let them know where you're currently at and why you chose the school that you're at to attend.
Okay. I'm currently at the Xavier University of Louisiana. Oh, hang on, let me rephrase that. I'm currently at the illustrious Xavier University of Louisiana that is in New Orleans, Louisiana, founded in 1925. And so, yeah, that's my university. I love my H to my B to my C. I love my HBCU. So
that's good.
Definitely love Xavier, love everything that it has to offer.
Okay. Now, what was the reason and what were the things that were in place that really attracted you to making that your final decision?
I'll definitely say, it's my coach, Coach Holloway. Definitely, Coach Holloway is a great coach. He's a great man outside of being a coach. If you ever need anything, he's definitely somebody you can call, because he cares about his players and he cares about their well-being. It may not seem like it when things happen at first, but in the end, when you reflect on it, he truly wants the best for his players. And so just getting to know him through the recruiting process, it was definitely a hard decision, but that was just that's what I felt like was the best decision and the right place for me to go during that time when I made my final decision to attend Xavier.
Okay. Well, that's good. And so making the transition from high school to college, what were some of your biggest obstacles? First, let's start, because we're going to transition slowly to the student, the athletic, this academic part of it. Sorry, but let's start off from the baseball end of it. What was some of the biggest obstacles in making that transition from high school to college?
Definitely time management was huge. I'm an athletic scholar. I'm smart, I'll say, but I never studied in high school.
Gotcha.
We talk about in class, have a headphone in, get a 90 on the test, and be cool. Not worried. That you can't do that in college. That was big time management, as well as the schedule, right? Because in high school, you got class from 9 to 4 every day, and you got practice right after that. Cool. college, that's not the case. Your classes are A-day, B-days, right? Your Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or your Monday, Wednesdays, your Tuesday, Thursdays, on top of practice every day. And those practices like are long, and you still have study hall you have to get. Like in high school, you don't have study hall hours you have to get, right? High school, we had study hall once a week on Wednesdays. That wasn't mandatory, but here you have to get 8 hours study hall a week. Your coaches aren't going to tell you, hey, go to study hall. You have to go to study hall on your own, on top of class, on top of weights. Because like in high school, your weight room sessions are during practice. Everything's built in. Here, you have a weight room on top of class.
Wow.
On top of practice, and practice is, 3 hours.
Wow.
And you still got to eat. And your classes are, depending on your campus, can be very far, like 10, 15-minute walk.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's definitely time management was big for me, transitioning from high school to college, as well as being away from moms. I'll say that.
Okay.
Definitely was hard at first. Me and my mom, my grandma. So, yeah, that was a big trend. That was a big part of my transition for sure.
So with even the last ending that you're saying, I know a lot of athletes deal with this. So tell me what was your dealing when it came to the becoming independent, like no longer having moms and grandma right there to kind of guide you and wake you up, make sure you're here, make sure you're there on time. Like, what was that like going on in the college? Like, how much did you have to adjust with really being independent and being able to, kind of fend for yourself when it came from that end?
I'll definitely say it wasn't bad in a way because of the fact of I had to go to school early.
Okay.
I had to report early for a summer program. So, we had counselors who were waking us up, but they was waking us up like buku early. Like I'm talking like 6, beating on that door. And I was like, wow. Eventually we just got used to it, and we started setting alarms. And like for us, it was kind of a prank. Like we tried to time it so when they started beating on the door, we were opening the door.
Wow.
It just became a fun, just, it took a little time. Because I was like, I'm not trying to wake up at 6 o'clock. Like, but yeah, it was definitely kind of was fine because I had that buffer of a program because I had that month of school that helped me prepare for actual college. Where they, showed me around campus, stuff like that, show me what it was like. So yeah, that's that.
All right. So very important to me. I love to see our athletes excel and do their best in the game. But I think a part of having something to fall back on is holding down and really taking advantage of the academic end of it. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but tell us about like some of the things that you've been able to accomplish on the academic end, and also just the importance of a young athlete remembering that they're a student first.
Okay. Some of the things I've been able to accomplish, I've made Dean's List a few times. Academically, I mean, I don't really have that many academic accomplishments. I still, maintain a solid GPA, of course.
Okay.
But I feel like I have a lot of baseball accomplishments and I have a lot of leadership accomplishments.
And that's good.
So when you say academic, that can mean extracurricular.
Right.
Outside of baseball, I'll say I definitely have accomplishments as the president of the Association of Student Athletes at my university, as well as the vice president of Collegiate 100. And of course, to have those leadership roles, you have to maintain a certain GPA to be able to hold those positions. I was also nominated for Student Leader of the Year this past year for SGA. So I've had a lot of different accomplishments.
Gotcha.
Which
I think needs to be addressed. I mean, you said it already. You made the Dean's List a couple of times, and so you don't do that from just not focusing on academics. And I think that the gist of it is just really making sure our athletes are not just focused on what they're doing in the sport, but also just maintaining what they need to maintain when it comes to the classroom. So again, we have an awesome young player in Mr. Neal on with us that is excelling on a high level, playing on a high level in college. And we haven't even touched some of the different traveling outlets that he's been a part of. So we're going to touch that in a few minutes. But he's also doing what he needs to do in the classroom. And I think I just want my viewers and the young people that get to watch to just see another example of somebody that doesn't take classroom for granted, but he does what he needs to do in the classroom as well as handling business on the field at the same time. And he's already said it. It takes a lot of work to juggle both, but you have to be able to find that balance. You have to be able to find that balance. So we'll talk a little bit about leadership in a minute, but I do want to cover it because we didn't cover it earlier. And I asked past baseball guests before, like, first tell us some of the different outlets that you've been a part of outside of your school teams.
Okay. I've been a part of MLB Develops, which includes MLB Breakthrough, which I attended in California. You have the Elite Development Invitational, which is now known as the Hank Aaron Invitational, which is in Vero Beach at the Jackie Robinson Complex, as well as MLB Dream Series, which is MLK Weekend, which is in Tempe, Arizona.
Okay.
I also played on Team Citius, growing up in my summer circuit. What are the outlets? I was a two-time perfect game preseason All-American, as well as a two-time Under Armour preseason All-American, and on the perfect game honorable mention all Texas team. Some of the other outlets. I think that's pretty much it.
That's good. That's good. Great and awesome accomplishments. I will ask you, I asked one of our past guests, like, for the young athlete that's just coming up, and I know for some it's tough to really be able to be active and the time and the travel that it takes. I know it takes a parent that is really able to kind of help get you around, but how important for a young baseball player just starting off like that wants to play at the highest level, how important is it for them to connect with some of these different outlets, whether it's Perfect Game or some of the other outlets you mentioned? How important is it for them at some point to really get connected, if they want to play on the high level when it comes to baseball?
It's important to an extent. I feel like going to those high level events and performing well definitely helps you. Sometimes it's all about who you know.
Okay.
Because baseball is very expensive. Baseball is extremely expensive to play on a travel level. Okay. So it's kind of about who you know and relationships you build during that time, during the recruiting process. Because let's say you may not perform well, but if you still carry yourself well, that coach may still see something they like. Because if a coach comes to see you, majority of the time, they already see what you can do. They know what you can do athletically. They want to see how you carry yourself in the dugout when things get rough, how you handle adversity and things like that. It's the majority of the time not your ability baseball-wise.
Okay. All right. So let's ask, what is your overall goal when it comes to your career in baseball?
My overall goal is to make it to the majors.
Okay.
Like, there's no, cause that's a cut and dry answer right there. Make it to the majors.
Gotcha.
Any way possible.
That's good. That's good. And so I'll ask, even on the school, let's go to the school end real quick. What are you actually majoring in?
I am a business management major with a minor in administration.
All right. So I know it's very tough for you with all the time you have to put in with baseball. But have you had time to kind of think of like just even with your major, connected to your major, like some things you would love to do even outside of the game, even being able to play on the major league level, like some things you would love to do on the business and career and just like in life?
Yeah, most definitely. Some of the things I want to do, I want to start my own sports organization to give back to the community, prioritizing, the minority population and teaching them to get to college, not just to get to college, but through college as well, on both academic and athletic scholarships, because you never know if you get hurt, your coach could pull out scholarship, but if you have academics, that's a whole different ball game. As well as hopefully, become either an athletic director or a head baseball coach of a university.
That's good. So you touched on it a minute ago, just in regards to your connection with leadership. Like, tell the young person, how important is it to really work at growing as a leader and the effects that it can have on the people around
you? Being a leader, some people are born into it. Some people just happen to learn leadership skills. Being a leader is very important, but being a leader is hard work.
Gotcha.
It's not easy. Being a leader, you get to be on your P's and Q's at all times.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you're a leader when you don't even know you're being a leader. Sometimes being a leader is being a follower. Sometimes sometimes you're just thrown into that position and you have two options. You can either fold or you can step up and do the thing.
Got you. That's good. And I think you touched on things people kind of overlook sometimes, that as a leader, you have to learn how to be able to take instructions and learn from other people. And so you put it in the words of being a follower. And so not a follower and following somebody that's doing something negative, but being able to follow someone that is already in a leadership role, because you then learn from that leader. And some people have a problem with taking instructions from people. And I think hence they'll never really grow to be the leader that they can be, because a leader first has to learn how to be able to follow. And I think you touched on a very good point, and I appreciate you for that. So now you're in your last year. What are your goals this season? What are some short-term goals for just this season as you just started, about to go into the new school year or in the new school year? What are some of your goals?
Some of my goals. See this hand right here? Yeah.
I see you already.
Need a ring. That's the main goal. I need a ring on this finger.
Got you.
That's the end goal. Like, there's no if, ands, and buts about it. I could be like, oh, I want to win pitcher of the year. I want to win this. I want to win that. No, I want this right here.
Got you.
That's the only goal. Point blank. Period.
That's good. So as we get ready to kind of get close to the end, like, first, let me ask you, I didn't touch on this earlier, but are you a student of the game? Like, if you are, like, who are some of your greatest players of all times that you've watched, looked up to? Let us know about, just this, in your love for the sport. Who are some players that you've looked up to?
Am I a student of the game? Oof. I could say yes, but I'm getting there.
Gotcha.
I'll say that. Getting there. I didn't really know what it meant to be a student of the game until, probably about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And since then, I have become a student. I've become a student of my mechanics.
Got you.
A student of me, myself, understanding, all right, if I throw a pitch one location, what am I doing differently from making that a strike? It's all about studying you. And, studying the game is good. Studying the game, studying other players, right, to see what they do. Maybe you can incorporate that into your game. I've done that. But pitching, everybody's so different. So I have to become a student of what works for me as a pitcher. When it comes to some of my favorite players, some of my favorite players are my boys,
Okay.
I have other mentors: LaTroy Hawkins, Darren Oliver, Edwin Jackson, uh, Ricky Tyler Thomas. Those are some of my top ones.
That's
But
good.
besides that, my boys, because that's who I played on the same field as them. Like, I still remember some of our first encounters with some of them, where it's like, yo, like, I can call this dude and be like, yo, like, what's up? How you doing? How you living? Cause we have that relationship. So it's crazy to think, yo, 5, 6 years ago, we were little kids. Like,
Got you.
we were dreaming of being where we are today. So yeah, those are
That's
some of my favorite players for sure.
that's good. That's good. So as we get to the end, we have a few questions we always ask you. One of the first ones I'm going to ask is, how important is it to keep positive people or have positive people in your circle?
It's extremely important because baseball is a game where you're gonna fail majority of the time, and it's about how you bounce back. We play a game where you have to be able to have short memory. So having people around you that's gonna uplift you, but not sugarcoat things, is extremely important. Uh, my circle, they uplift me extremely, and I'm always my hardest critic. And they tell me, Caleb, lighten up on yourself, because I have that tendency to where I could run myself into the ground because I am so hard on myself.
Okay.
But I have to give myself grace, just like God gives me grace day in and day out, because I'm a man of faith as well. So it's extremely important to not only have important, positive people in my life, but also faith-based people that are going to tell me right from wrong. And when I am wrong, they're going to tell me, hey, you were in the wrong here. Fix it.
Got you. That's good. That's good. And last question I will ask, and no, it might not be the last, but I will ask, this is one of the questions we ask at the end of every show. Who is it or what is it that inspires you in life?
My community, the future generations. That's what inspires me to keep going. Being in DC this summer, I had little kids come to me, ask me for a signed ball,
Wow.
and kids around me, uh, like, just looking up to me, and that really inspires me, knowing I can impact the future generations in more ways than I can imagine right now. Uh, but also the other, they're probably tied. You know, my mom. My
Okay.
mom inspires me because she gave up everything, raised me as a single mother to put me in a position to win.
That's
And
good.
doing what she did, there's no way I'm not gonna win. Uh, the resources she's given me, the opportunities, that's more than a mom is required to do. And
That's
she
good.
did that out of the love of her heart. So that's also what keeps me going. That's my other inspiration.
That's good, man. So awesome. I appreciate all your answers during the show. And that's typically my last question, but I do want you to leave the viewers and the young athletes with this one question I will ask you in closing. For the young athlete, whether it's adversity around them, whether it's the struggle of just making it on the high level, like, give that few words of inspiration to the young athletes that wants to maybe grow to be able to help their family and get to a certain level, may have come from the similar situation of being in a single parent home as yourself. Give them words of inspiration, so to focus on not just academics, but in working hard towards that sport so that they can really achieve their very best.
You stay focused, stay locked in, know your why, know your destiny. And then once you understand your worth, add tax to that, multiply that, make them feel you, but don't talk about it. Just do it. Stay focused, stay locked in, and keep that circle around you, but keep a small circle, because some of the people that you call your friends really aren't your friends.
Wow.
Somebody who's unsupportive, an unsupportive friend is also a hater. Remember
Got
that.
you. Got you. Got you. And I'm gonna close last one. You during this show, I noticed you quoted a couple of speakers or coaches. And so are you a person that listens to a lot of public speakers or motivational speakers?
Uh, to an extent, I definitely listen to it before a start. Before a start, I definitely have Definitely listen to some motivational speakers sometimes. It's on my game day playlist. My sophomore year, the year I went undefeated in football, before every game, when I was getting in the bus, when I was in the locker room, I mean, and before I got ready to warm up, I always had a motivational, either a hype video or Eric Thomas,
Got you.
that I listened to. Now, George has been, you know, a speaker that's definitely been helping me, uh, like, because sometimes I feel like I'm in the shackles. I've been locked
Okay.
up so long, and he's been, some of the things he says is just like, yo, like, it resonates with me because it's like, all right, you've been here, you built for this. Now it's time to lock it in. Now it's time to keep it going because every story has a storm, and
That's,
every storm shall pass.
wow. Well, I appreciate you. And we're going to end on that note. Again, you all, we've been blessed to have Mr. Caleb Neal on with us, and he's given us great information. Again, our goal every show is just to provide you with great information from professional to current college athletes, to even some high school athletes that are really focused and locked in, not only on their sport, but in life, with the goal of hopefully encouraging you to achieve your very best outside of the game. So like every show, you know what I say, it is good to be great in that sport you're playing, but it's even better to be great in life. So we thank you first, Mr. Neal, for joining us, man. Thank you.
Thank y'all for having me. I definitely appreciate it. This was an amazing experience. So definitely thank you.
Thank you, sir. And so we just ask that you all continue to join us. We're again in another beautiful season with some awesome guests you've already seen, with more awesome guests to come. And we just challenge you to continue to keep going out and up. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next episode.
Thank y'all.